The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com, 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod. I brought along a friend.
What's
Tom
up?
Giles is here. Now, Celtics win by 30 down in Atlanta. Giles, my only misstep here is I forgot to get us headbands.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how we missed out on that. Derek White, Jayson Tatum. Obviously, was the headband game for Tatum. 26 points in the first half. Seemed to have a positive influence on his night. But yeah, we need to step it up. Get the headbands
Evidently.
here.
And if I had known, if they could have given us a little warning that this was coming, it has been. I was trying to go through my notes. I used to keep all these nerdy sartorial stats about like who wore what, and
You had accessory splits.
I did, and usually it was like, I mean, way back to probably headband rondo, and but it was more a common thing. And so the Jays did occasionally flirt with wearing headbands, and I do remember, anecdotally, that their stats were always very good. So as soon as we were doing what we call the rollout on our pregame program, and a little picture of Tatum in the layup line popped up with it, I said, "Oh, buckle up.
Yep.
This could be a night," and boy, was it. 26 points in the first half, like barely missed, hit a bunch of threes, was just dominant. I don't want to focus on the negative. I don't know why he seemed to downshift in the second half. I told you my conspiracy theories, saving a little bit for Wednesday night.
Yeah.
But what's it like when Jayson Tatum is that ridiculously hot in a game?
It was especially because I know he had 16 in the first quarter. We've seen that, but it was the fact that he was able to come back in the second quarter for his second stint. He comes in the final 6 minutes there and just kind of picked up where he left off, and also picked up where the team not had left off, but what they were doing at that time. He was on the bench. They're down by 3, and then all of a sudden they go on an 11-0 run, and it just culminated in this 34-9 run where they just went from being down by 3 to Atlanta to then being up 22 at half, and it just happened like
Blink of an
that.
eye.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tatum was killer in that as well. And but I was really impressed with that 11-0 run with Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Jrue Holiday out on the floor.
It felt like Derek, again, the other headband guy, was the one who sort of kick-started it. And that's the way it goes, right? Like, Derek is just quietly, and I hate to say that, like, everything floats below the radar because we're going to make the pitch for him to be an all-star. But it just felt like they were kind of sluggish. They were kind of settling. And Derek just gave him a little jolt. One headband bro got him going. Then the other headband bro came in and took the baton. And next thing you know, we're like, oh, wow, it's going to be a breezy night. And it's amazing. Tatum's first half, 9 of 13 field goals, 6 of 10 beyond the three-point arc. Kind of crazy.
The first quarters, though, are what's really
So you brought this up.
been unbelievable.
It was part of our DraftKings thing, right?
It was part of the same game parlay. I just needed 10 points from Tatum in the first quarter. That was it.
Just like
and I'm pretty sure he's had one where he didn't get to double figures, and he had like 8 somewhere around there. But I want to say he's been in double figures for almost every other game.
Yeah, the number was that he has done it. So what did they play? 9 games, so he's done it 8 times or 7 times.
Eight games.
And 7-1, so he's done it 7 times, and the rest of the league has done it like 10 times, and no one else more than twice.
It's insane.
It's like we've gotten so accustomed to Jaylen Brown being the what I call the fire starter, the igniter, the energy shifter. I don't know. Like, it was just like Tatum was like this year. You know what, JB, if you don't mind, I'm gonna, if you will, let me light the fuse.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah. And again, they just kind of take their cues from that, and they jumped out to a lead, but also part of it was that defensively maybe they were a little slow getting out. The Celtics were.
Yeah, fair. Jayson Tatum, any day that your girl writes an R&B song about you. Did you see this?
I did not see this.
So, LMA wrote a I think it's called 3. They have matching tattoos, and then he made a bunch of 3s. So, I don't know. I'm just saying.
So you got the headband and that?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yes.
And I almost hope we're going to get to this for in the second part of the pod, but like maybe you need to save a little something because you got a big one on Wednesday night that a lot of eyeballs are going to be on. So,
and by the way, if we're not talking about it now, that's fine.
No, you're going to have to wait. Let me just run down my card of other stuff that happened in this game. Neemias Queta got the start, was plus 27 in the first half.
Yeah. Plus 27 in the first half.
Isn't that crazy? He was essentially on the floor for the entire time they dominated.
Wow.
Look, I was not leery of Nemi coming into the year. I just think had a propensity to sometimes be in the wrong spots offensively. I think he was still kind of searching for like how he most impacts this team. And understandably, he only played 333 minutes last year, right? Like it wasn't a whole lot outside of trash time to know where you fit in with this. Was getting a whole bunch of time here with the starting group. Like I think of his time last year, a third of it, so 100 minutes, was with Tatum. He's probably got 50 minutes with Tatum already this year, and those minutes, all he does is have to play with energy, attack the glass, and good things happen.
Yeah, doesn't he feel like he's playing much more decisive on the offensive end
100%.
as well? And you can also see that it's going to get better because he's playing decisively, but there's still some things that a couple shots here and there that he's just going to become more comfortable with. He already looks like a different player, and I expect he's going to look like even better. It's only going to grow as the season goes along.
Think about that. The other night they're like, hey, we're going to throw Luke out there. We think it's a good matchup. He's played well with the starting group. He goes for season-high 19 points, 6 of 6 from the floor. Tonight they're like, you know what? Could probably need a little bit more energy. Someone can get up and down the court a little bit more. Someone who can match what Capella can do and all that. And what happens? Boom. He's just plus 20, 27 in the first half. Al Horford, back in Atlanta.
I thought his energy was really good early.
He had an up and under. He went full Jordan on a little layup. Mom was in the crowd talking about Dominican food that he's been chowing down on this weekend.
Great interview with Abby Chin.
So good.
That was one of the highlights of the first half.
I think my mother now listens to the podcast. So hi, Mom. She's gonna love that you're on today.
Hi, Mrs. Forsberg.
Yeah, she. If ever there was an in-game interview with my mom, I hope she would be as excited as Mrs. Reynoso was, and it was quite enjoyable that she was as into it and gave all the details. I mean, I can't even imagine that family was such a part of this experience. His dad being in every game, his son Ian being on the bench and being a towel boy and being in the locker room, and like I just feel really good for them. We all know what it meant to Al and what it meant for the team to get it for Al, but yeah, little moments like that in the season, it sort of gets lost in it. But when you're looking for a little something on a night to night, going back to a place that you got some roots that Mom still lives in, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, I thought he had really good energy from the jump. He had that block shot on the corner three, and they got a really good team effort. They did,
really
top
good
to bottom.
Team effort.
Yeah,
like Sam got his points. Like Peyton Pritchard had a good, not great night. Like they all did a little something to get this. Did I hear Abby say that Peyton Pritchard's up to number 1 in the 6-man odds now?
That's entirely possible.
Which is crazy when he was pretty much off the board for most of the summer.
Here's a question that, because we have discussed this kind of, but on TV, so we haven't really been able to hash it out.
Fair.
They're going to keep him coming off the bench, right? Can you see scenarios where he starts? Like I could see in the final week of the regular season.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like he'll be starting in those situations.
That
I
might
would
be
think.
to pad the line too. Like how some so what was it? Quickly when he was with the Knicks, he used to start like 20 games a year, and he would have big nights, and it would juice the overall output. And it sounds ridiculous, but it does help that when you get a handful of starts to juice that number a little bit, and it could help Peyton if he's going to stay in this conversation.
But otherwise, he's going to keep coming off the bench.
I can see a long-term vision where like Drew's on the Al plan, and you're like resting him a little bit, or just like trying to find nights. Then so Peyton naturally starts more games, probably 2 years from now or a year from now. But yeah, I think this year they'll stick with that. But like same deal. If whatever reason, like last year at one point, I think I'm trying to think if it was a quad or something, and Drew went out for a little bit. Pritchard goes in and perfectly fine. Like just gets an opportunity, and every time somebody gets more of an opportunity with this team, they just go up a level.
It's funny you said that. You almost talked about it, like he had 18 points.
I know,
like,
but because our expectation now is 20 plus, right?
Yeah, it's true.
But I do think the voters are going to have to keep that in mind. I would love to know, like his plus minus has been off the chart every game. He's been among the net rating leaders again. Like we have to like really hone in on how people are impacting winning. And that would be how Peyton Pritchard's roadmap to winning this thing. I want to throw this one thing in before we do the look ahead. I was watching the Cavs game while ours was going on because ours was pretty snoozy. And the Cavs actually fell behind. They had a big lead. The Bucks stormed back. Bucks went up 3 with like 2 minutes to go and looked like they were going to get what felt like a must-have win. And then the Cavs the Garland hit a big three. Jared Allen had both a layup and a block on the other end. They're 8-0.
They are 8-0. And by the way, the other side of that too was, and Giannis didn't play for Milwaukee.
Right.
See what Milwaukee is now?
1-6.
They're 1-6.
Last place.
They're 1-6. Like that I think is more surprising, definitely, than Cleveland being 8-0.
What if the Bucks get Cooper Flag?
I don't see that happening. Things would have to go really
that
badly.
Probably means that Giannis decided to take his talents elsewhere. If that were to play out, but I'm just saying, there's going to probably be a decent to good team that's going to be in the mix for a lottery spot.
Are you suggesting though that the Bucks won't figure it out at all?
There's nothing about the past season and a half that suggests to me that the Bucks are going to figure it out.
That's interesting because I went into it thinking that Milwaukee with Dame and Giannis now.
In that first game, you were like, "Oh my God, this works!" And
That's
then
right.
tonight, even Dame was great, but if they can't keep everybody out there full time, I don't know what they do.
Yeah, that is crazy. But getting back to Cleveland, 8-0. I'll be honest, I haven't seen a lot of Cleveland yet. But you just
same formula. Donovan Mitchell's really good. Garland's kind of figured it out. They're all got their security now.
Kenny Atkinson
is. Look, I didn't think JB Bickerstaff deserved to get canned, but that played itself out for whatever reason. There was something there. And they've just Atkinson has proven in the past he can be a really good coach. So
when's that first matchup with the Celtics?
December 1st. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah, December 1st. Yeah,
that's the one.
Look it up.
I've got it.
Of course you know.
I've got it circled because that's probably I hate to say it. We were talking about during a break of our show where you get through Wednesday night and all of a sudden it's a lot of home games, but there's not a lot of sexy home games on there. There's some of the in-season tournament stuff will be fun, because it'll matter, and I think they're going to play hard for those games. But the next sort of measuring stick game might be that one.
Interesting.
I think there's a Knicks game.
Is that an NBA Cup game?
That isn't. No, that is a non-NBA Cup game.
Okay.
But they are. Who's in their bracket that I said actually has a chance to push them? There's one team in the bracket.
It's not Atlanta.
I don't have all the answers at my fingertips.
But Atlanta is in their group.
Yes, and I'm telling you, I don't know if point differential is a thing again this year, but if it is, God, they might try to beat them by 50 if that plays itself out. All right, let's get to more of our post-game show, and then we'll be back to talk about that Golden State game. That's sort of interesting. Celtics Talk is presented by 24 Auto Group, where now through the end of the year, they are doubling your down payment at all 11 locations throughout southern New England. Go to 24autogroup.com for more info.
Tatum actually only finishing with 28, but he had 26 in the first half. Eddie, your thoughts on this game that really turned in that second quarter?
It looked like one team is head and shoulders above the other team, and it was easy to see, and it's all started with Jayson Tatum. He came out, set the tone early in the first quarter. I think Peyton Pritchard came in. He put his stamp on the game in the first half, and after that, it was smooth sailing. It was just coasting. We got fast break points. We turned them over. We took care of the basketball. We out-rebounded them. We guarded the three. They were 6 for 31 from three. So we did all of the things to have a big-time win like we had tonight.
Giles, as soon as I saw that warm-up video of Tatum in the headband, I knew it was curtains for the Hawks tonight because I don't know what it is. They don't break it out very often. But whenever Tatum throws on that headband, and back in the day, him and Jalen would come out for warm-ups and have it on, I'd be like, uh-oh. And then they take him off before the game. But I don't know what this little secret bond is he's got with Derek White, that if one guy says it's time for headbands, they're both doing it this year. Might have to throw it into play here where they need to stick with these headbands until they hit a bump in the road. Because that first half of Tatum was otherworldly. And I don't know, probably not just the headband. He's probably just good at basketball. Man, he was on a different level.
Yeah, the Celtics finished that second quarter on a 34-9 run. Atlanta was winning the game in the middle of the second quarter. They were up 44-41, and then the Celtics just went crazy from there. Speaking of Jayson Tatum, Abby Chin is back in Atlanta. She's standing by with Tatum.
Jayson, another fast start for you. Finished the first half with 26 points, but you make it look so easy. How do you do that?
I just try to play the game the right way. Surrounded by some great players, great coaching staff. They put me in the right positions, and I worked my butt off.
16 points in the first quarter alone. Can we start calling you the first quarter, Jay. What advantages are you finding to start games here?
I don't know. I'm just off to a good rhythm. Just trying to start the game off more aggressive. Earlier years I've been more relaxed or, ease my way into the game and, trying to change that a little bit.
Is that something you're intentionally trying to do?
Yeah, it's a point of interest, I guess.
Point of emphasis. Very nice. You guys close out this road trip 3-1, return home for a big-time matchup against the Warriors. But what do you like best about the way your team is playing right now?
Just how we responded. Joe talked about having 25-point quarters, and I think in our first 20 quarters we only had 6. In the last 3 games we may have 9. So picking up the defensive intensity has really shown. It's led to great offense.
Jayson, thank you. Congrats.
Appreciate you.
All right, let's get further into the night that Tatum had here. And Eddie, what did you see? Because it was just 2 days ago. We're having some discussions about shooting the basketball. Had a tough night shooting in Charlotte, but he comes out here tonight. He goes 6 for 14 from 3, Eddie, and it was particularly just the way he was getting it done in that first quarter where he had 16 points and then putting up 10 more in the second quarter.
Are you surprised, though? Think about it. He's a superstar, and superstars always respond. They usually don't stack bad games on top of each other. They find ways to respond. They find ways to come back and be better than they were the game before. And he just was able to go out there and play his game. Like you said, he's just playing the game the right way, taking whatever the game is dictating for him to take or whatever he wants to dictate for the game for him to take. So, I like the way how he was in attack mode off rip. And then everything else opens up. Once you start getting to the rim, getting layups, get to the free throw line here and there, but just putting pressure on the defense, making the right plays, you able to hit shots like that, and it don't matter who's guarding you. Whether it's Trae Young, whether it's a guy that's 7 feet tall, you're going to be able to knock down a shot.
I'm the first one to nitpick when he settles a little bit, but when the three-pointers go in like that, it's just a reminder that you can't hang with the Celtics when Tatum is playing to that level. Because if that shot's going, what are you going to do? You're going to throw a double at him. He's going to kill you with the pass with the 9 assists tonight. You close out too hard, he's going to drive on you. His ability to get in transition and finish shots tonight. I don't know what the game plan is if he's got that going. Now, obviously, he cooled off a little bit. But Giles, I got a conspiracy theory. He realized he was having too good of a night, and he needed to save a little bit for Wednesday. So he said at the half, you know what? Going to hit the downshift button, save a little something for Steve Kerr on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, he did. They didn't need him. We got Drew and Scal joining us now. The other part of this, too, and I know you guys brought it up in the broadcast, Trae Young just 2 points, 1 of 10 from the field. Did he just have an off night, Scal, or did the Celtics do something defensively to kind of impact his night?
Well, hang on. According to this piece of paper, he had a right rib strain.
Yeah, no, that's not. The thing is, the Celtics did a really good job. Even the shots that he made, he had his foot on the line. It was a tough shot. There's no defense for something like that. So they were in his airspace. They sat a guy. If he were to drive, there'll be a guy right there. I just thought they did a great job picking him up early in transition, not allowing him to get anything going. Even the floaters at, a high contest. Great defense by the Celtics. They knew what they were getting into, and they did a good job with it.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, that's the guy that runs that team, right? As Trae Young goes, the team goes. And you look at in the second, third, and fourth quarter, they under 25 points. That means we're locking down. We're locked in defensively. And to me, that's what I always talk about, and I'll lean into. What were you guys seeing out there in that second, third, and fourth quarter? How they locked down? Was it a different type of energy, or what was it?
Well, I just think it's really hard if your best player is a smaller guard to try to score a lot of points against the Celtics.
Sure.
With that defensive backcourt, Trae Young, we know what he can do, put up big numbers, but tonight he just didn't have it. Maybe he was hurt, toward the end of when he was playing. But the Celtics' defensive intensity is off the charts. You're right, Eddie. Their point total allowed goes down by the quarter. And that's, kind of the case for the entire season. And we're only 8 games in here. But the fourth quarter defensive numbers for the Celtics have been outstanding. And part of that is, a guy like Keita getting some run late in games to start the year. Now he starts tonight, and he protects the rim at a really high level. The Celtics are just really connected.
Yeah, think about this. With Trae Young, as good of a passer as he is, the athletic sort of front line, Daniels, Ricochet, and Johnson. Like, you would think that those guys would get out and run, and they didn't. The Celtics got back. They set their defense. 0 fast break points until the fourth quarter when they made that turnover. So whatever they're doing, their rotations, whatever Joe Mazzulla's buttons that he's pushing, they're doing the right things right now.
Drew, I asked you before the season what the one little thing under the radar that you wanted to see was, and what'd you say? Queta. So what has it been like to see that little glow up of what he's had so far this season?
I love it, Forsberg. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the guy. It's a cool story about how he discovered the game of basketball, how he makes history being the first Portuguese player in the NBA. And it's also just, it's crazy in hindsight. A year and a half ago, he's in the Kings system and he's playing in the G League.
Yeah.
What were the Kings doing? Thank you for getting rid of him so the Celtics could find him. He wears number 88. Like, he's got a cool accent. He's a nice, easygoing guy. It's just a fun story. So I'm really excited for him. And I also think that, tonight, Queta getting the start is sort of an example of the luxury the Celtics have where they're going to win 60-plus games. I think there's no doubt about that. So if Joe Mazzulla wants to try starting Queta instead of Luke, wants to try that double big lineup, maybe he wants to go small eventually, you can try that because you're going to have a cushion. Even though it's still early November, I think we can feel good that the Celtics are going to have the best record in the league.
Is this like the new white guy bromance like Robert Williams back in the day? This is like the new thing?
Dude, I literally said that to Forsberg before the year. I'm like, Rob Williams is to you as to me as Queta is to me.
I don't know about that, man. I don't know if you should go that far.
Hey, guys, Rob's playing tonight, so we need to get through this.
He has a whole room dedicated to Robert Williams.
Brad,
still.
He has a shrine. Brad, if you're listening, please don't trade Nemi to Portland, please.
Yeah, no.
They got enough bigs.
Jayson, seemed like you felt maybe more relaxed in the first half. It just seemed like the shot was going down and you played in rhythm. How do you describe how you felt in the first half and why the shot was just kind of fluid like that?
Yeah, and I felt good. And just understanding, what happened last time we came here. We lost 2 games in a row. And, that was on our mind that we wanted to come out here and play a lot better and get a win.
What do you think's working for you before a game early this season? I feel like shots are going down, but what's kind of going well for you in terms of the looks you're getting, the shot profile?
Yeah, just trying to read the game. We generate good shots, more often than not for each other. I'm always on the court with some really talented guys, and we know how to play off of each other. So it's just a matter of reading the game and trying to attack the, disadvantage that they have, or whoever we try and go at on defense, or whatever we're trying to accomplish as a team, understanding that going into the game.
Is there a defense you haven't seen yet?
In my life?
All the different ways. Yeah,
No. Seen it all.
how important has that been for development and being able to show that tonight was really balanced?
Yeah. And, it's finding ways to be effective, be the ball handler, obviously be the picker and pick and roll. And even if I don't get any credit for it, creating confusion, they don't know if they want to switch or maintain or if they should stay. We get great shots off of that. Off-ball cutting, off-ball, setting flares and things like that. So I'm trying to find ways to get easy ones, understanding that they're not going to let me play one way the entire game. So that's the fun part of it, just trying to figure that out.
In the first 8 days, have you noticed that you guys are ahead of other teams who are trying to fit new pieces because you guys don't really have any new pieces in, like you were kind of ahead of the team that you've seen so far in that respect?
Yeah, and I've been on both sides. I've been on a team where you got a bunch of new pieces and you're trying to figure out what works and get guys acclimated, and that can be tough sometimes. And obviously we're on a team where we have everybody back except for O'Shea. So you know, we kind of just picked up where we left off.
These came into the league. Did you ever imagine yourself shooting as many threes as you are now? Obviously, it's a big part of the offense of the league and what you guys do offensively. But your journey as a three-point shooter as you came in the league, how have you kind of acclimated to how many you guys are getting now?
Yeah, just the way the game has changed. When I first came in, there still was some traditional bigs. We started Baines and Al together sometimes. And even that year, Baines was shooting a lot of threes. So the game has just really changed, guys. The skill set of guys has gotten a lot better. Everybody, can space the floor more often than not. So it's all about being able to play in space and surrounding yourself with guys that, are a threat behind the line.
You enjoy it?
Being able to make threes, yeah.
The amount of threes in the game today,
I mean, I don't go into the game like I'm shooting 14 threes a night. Some of them are, heat checks. Some of them late shot clock. Some of them you feeling good. Obviously, there's open ones. And it's just the way that we play. We attack guys. We find the advantage. We attack it. You got to help. If you don't, we're going to make a layup. If you do, we pass it out to the wing, and we pass up a good shot for a great shot. And, everybody on the perimeter can shoot. And, that's how we play.
Moving into the headband, is that a good look for you? You think that fits you?
Is it a good look? I mean, I'm always going to be handsome. I used to wear a headband a lot, but it's a thing between me and D. White where, we did it a few times last year and the year before that, and we have an agreement between the two of us. Like, on a random day, if one of us walk in and say, yo, we got to wear a headband today, the other one got to agree. So I made the call today, so I'll be waiting, for him to tell me the next time we got to wear a headband.
Would you do it again on your own, or is it only with D. White?
I mean, it's something we talked about, so I'm gonna just do it when we do it together, I guess.
A lot of us have had Wednesday's game against the Warriors circled all season. Are you looking forward to that matchup?
I mean, yeah, we playing against Steph Curry and somebody that I'm close with, and obviously I'm close with Draymond Green, so I know it's a finals matchup from a few years ago. So from that standpoint, yeah, getting to play against those guys. We've had a lot of battles over the last couple of years, so I'm sure it'll be fun.
Who do you like best about the way you guys have responded on this trip coming up for Boston?
Oh, I forgot we played there. It just feel like this road trip's been a long time. But I think defensively we've locked in, played really well. I know a couple of times in Charlotte there were times there where they had big quarters, but I think for the most part try to be as consistent as possible on defense, and then I think we're moving the ball really well offensively.
How do you kind of, through the course of your career, seeing that three-pointer grow? For you and the league, how many do you have to take? How big of a part of the game it is now for you guys specifically?
I think it's big for this game. I think for us, we just take the shots that are given, and apparently we get a lot of wide open shots. Granted, we have JT and JB, D. White getting to the paint, Peyton getting to the paint, so a lot of the shots I think coming from three are pretty good looking shots. But I think three-point shot is a big part of this game, where corner threes, just the percentage from corner threes, how you try to take that away, trailing threes, walk-up threes. I feel like everybody works on it and everybody does it now.
Do you enjoy it even if it's just like a viewer in the game?
I enjoy good basketball, so whatever that means.
Jason's first half, it looked so effortless. How difficult is that, what he does, and how impressive?
For him, it looks pretty easy. Just coming out playing this game, being comfortable, being top 5 player in the league like he is. So he makes it look pretty easy, and then I think we just kind of follow suit. He makes the game so much easier for everybody else because of his scoring ability and playmaking ability.
Given the Hawks being shorthanded, how much did you guys really try to concentrate on stopping Trae Young, knowing that he's got an extra burden right now with some of his guys out, and you guys really did shut him down?
I guess I'm not sure it's about shutting them down. I think it was just more about ourselves and going over the game plan, trying to run through the game plan as best as possible. Trae is always going to be a threat against any team that he plays against, but I think for the most part we tried to contain everybody that we could, everybody that was going to play tonight.
That was first career start. A little rough start, but bounced back. How encouraging is that for him, and then are you kind of helping him on the defensive end?
Oh, no, I'm not helping him on the defensive end. Maybe more Derek White, guys who block shots in the paint. I'm not really that type. But no, I think he did a great job. I think him being able to go out there, be versatile, some days not play, some days start, come out and play the way that he did was awesome. And I think that's just a testament to the work that he puts in. I know that can be hard, or I assume that can be hard, where not knowing when your number is going to be called, but you come out and still perform anyways. But I think that's a testament to his hard work.
What's the challenge? You changed teams last year. Acclimate with your defense. What do you have to really learn to be able to kind of fit in on a new team defensively like you did last year?
I think you have to be adaptable. I think adaptability is one of the biggest things, not just out of basketball players, but out of any athlete. Being able to adjust on the fly. I feel like you kind of do the same thing on the road, right? Like, no city's the same, different rooms, different hotels, different type of food, but it's the same thing on the court. You have to adapt to anything, if it's offensively, defensively, schemes, players that you play with, knowing personnel. So as an athlete, that's one of the biggest things you have to do.
One of the maybe two, is there a little more juice in the Warriors?
Maybe.
For you?
Not really. I think I wasn't on the team when they had the whole finals run, so I think that's probably for the people that were on that team, but I obviously love beating them. Since I've been in the league, I think they've won 4 times, and I played against them twice in the playoffs and lost to them twice. And I played against, me and Steph are the same draft class, so I've been playing against them for a long time. But it's always fun to play against a really good team and a caliber team like that. So I wouldn't say it's like any more than normal, but I like playing against them and beating them.
All right, we probably should have started with this because the game itself wasn't all that interesting. Celtics versus Warriors. Like, we talked about circling games, and
is that coming up?
that feels like a big one. Look, will the hype match the output? We've been talking about this since midsummer, and Tatum not playing a whole lot, and Steve Kerr understanding he's going to be a villain. How do you think this one plays out?
I think it's going to be kind of a grind defensively. I think Golden State's going to defend them. Like that's where they are now. They're 6-1, by the way, aren't they? Maybe they got to 7-1 tonight. In any event, like
they're one of the best teams. And Scal brought this up on the broadcast. It's like we're so fixated on Kerr versus Tatum.
Yeah,
but it's like 2 of the better teams in the NBA.
Yeah, and Steph Curry obviously missed a couple games there with the injury. He came back tonight, had a pretty good night, 24 points. But they're getting a lot from their role players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
what happens when you're 12 deep.
Yeah. Yes. Going back to another Steve Kerr comment that particularly irked Eddie House. But I actually think that it's going to be a closer game, relatively speaking, than what we've seen for a lot of these Celtics games. I still expect them to be favored by more than a handful.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting. I wonder what that will. Do you know what that's?
I don't have that look ahead yet.
I'm gonna guess that's gonna hinge to like Curry's status going into tonight wasn't certain and whether he would play. So we'll see how that trends over the next couple of days. But I'm with you. Like I do think that. I'm trying to think back to last year. I don't want to say the Warriors had real estate in the Celtics' minds, but like there is something to you lose to that team in the finals. I remember that first rematch out there. The Celtics were way too hyped up for it and did not play well. I do fear a little bit that Tatum can be so I'm going to show Steve Kerr that it could go a little sideways. But if they approach it the right way, if Tatum leans into the distribution and when those double teams come and taking advantage of matchups, and there's no reason he's going to be motivated. It's all about keeping that emotional balance. And if the team does that, I feel pretty good about how it'll play out.
Now, what do you think about Jaylen Brown and his chances in that one?
So if you told me that Grant Hill was going to be calling it on the sideline and we could get
just throw one more factor in there,
two birds, one stone, I would say he'd probably be out there. But, like the fact that he didn't play in his hometown tonight sort of says to me that he's still feeling that. Michael Hawley was brought it up on our pregame that if you could get through this game, and if we're saying that the next kind of big circle is December 1, but there are those NBA Cup games. Look, the bottom line is as much time as you can give them, the less chance it's probably going to crop back up. So I totally get if they decide to keep it downshifted through this. I just guess, like, selfishly as a fan of drama and a fan of good games, like, I hope if he's feeling better that night and he can get out there, that'd be awesome. I'm just not gonna bank on it based on the downshift the last couple of games.
And I can understand everything that's personal about playing the Warriors and playing the Warriors in Boston that comes with it. Mm-hmm. But this team also just has been a team that realizes it's all about winning championships. Yeah. And it's all about being healthy in the playoffs. And I feel like as badly as they probably want to stick it to Steve Kerr and in the Warriors, I guess I just wouldn't be surprised if, they're cautious with Jaylen and he doesn't play in this game. And I also think that they I think Jaylen will understand that.
Oh, for sure.
That this is about the big picture.
I think they all have a pretty good grasp on that. And while everybody will have their own individual motivations throughout the course of the year, like, look, even if you beat the Warriors by 30, what does it do? You're still 8-1, and it doesn't change the calculus. We still think the Celtics are great. It's just more about, can you find a way to just continue to play good basketball and show that you are one of the best teams in the NBA.
Do you have any predictions for that game?
Tatum scores 50 and they win by 307 points. No, I'm actually with you. I think it'll be a close game. I do think Tatum will ride a little bit of a roller coaster. There'll be moments where we're like, oh, the Garden is rumbling, and it'll have playoff-like intensity. And I think, almost like tonight, he'll go cold, maybe lean on the three a little bit too much. I go back to it. I think there's got to be a balance. I think if you had to tell me, I would say someone else is going to have to tip the balance of that game. Like Curry being back, Tatum being motivated, like maybe those kind of things cancel each other out. And then what's the X factor in there? Is there someone on the Warriors that tips it, or is it someone leaning on the Celtics' depth that gets them to the finish line? But I think the Celtics beat them here last year, right? Like, if I remember right. I think it was pretty handily.
Was that the game? It was like a Sunday afternoon where they won by 40 or
yeah, because I remember again they were way too hyped the first time around. I think they were better in the follow-up matchup. So I'm excited for that one though.
Yeah,
and there's nothing else big in the world going on in the ramp up to it. So you guys can go ahead and like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll be back here from the Garden on Wednesday night. Talk to y'all then.